Okay, guys, this is a review for test 3. Sorry it took me a while to get it up on YouTube. The first one was too long, so I'm going to put it into 2 videos now. Okay, so the first one is going to be from, the first part of the review is going to be from uh, day 1 of this chapter. Okay, so in day 1, we had to recognize these Egyptian numerals. So if you look at the second page here, I'll show you, and it's in the book. Whoop, went 2 pages. These things represent 10, the swirly things are 100, the lotus flower is 1,000, and they all represent different things, okay? So again, this represents 100, this represents 10, and this represents 1. So you just simply add them together, and you'd have 111. So these lotus flowers are 1,000, these again are 10, these are 1. You just add everything up, and it's 3,067. These jumping people are 1,000,000. These are 10, these are 1s, so that would have been 2,045,000. Okay, so that's easy enough. You just recognize, you have the symbols in front of you, and you just add them. So here is just, okay, so how would you write 2,000? So it was these lotus flowers. How would you write 367? 3 of these, 6 of those, 7 of those. How would you write 620? 6 of these things that represent 100, and then 2 of those. Okay? So it's easy enough, especially because you'll have the symbols in front of you as you're doing it. Okay, now for Roman numerals, that you have to understand what the symbols are. And again, you'll have them in front of you, but there is a little bit different in a Roman numeral. So M is 1,000, C is 100, D is 500. And I have the symbols here. We just show them to you. So there's the Egyptian, and here's the Roman numerals. And it's in your book, and that's easy enough to look up on the internet if you need it, if you don't have a textbook or something like that. Okay, come on, roll down. Okay, so I'm looking at this. Let me just, this is not working. Here we go. Okay, so let me go back and grab my pen. I'm new at this too. All right. So this would have been, okay, the M is 1,000, so that would have been 1,000. Now, the only difference here between this is just simply adding. That was easy. But now this means to subtract. Once you have one that's lower than the one that's in front of it. So this is 100, and that's 1,000. So that would be 900. And then there's a 50 here that I wrote over. There's an L there, so that's 50 plus the 10 plus the 3. So when you added all those up, that would be 1963. So this one would simply be 500 plus the 100 plus the 50. So that would be 650. So the only time it's different is when you have a lower one in front of a higher one, then you have to subtract. Okay, so now this line over the top means you multiply it by 1,000. So that's a 5, and if we multiply it by 1,000, that means that's going to be 5,000 plus another 2,000 plus the 500 plus the 5. So that's going to be 7,505. So this is going to be the 500 multiplied by 1,000. That's going to be 500,000 plus another 3,000 plus 300 plus 30 plus 3. So my answer is going to be 503,333. Okay, so now writing them as Roman numerals, If I'm going to write 800, I would put 500 plus 3, 40. So now that's where the 40 comes in. You're going to do XL. That's going to be 10 minus the 50, and then 2. Okay, so you're not going to write 4 tens. You're going to write 10 minus the 50. So for 30,000, you certainly don't want to write 30 M's. So what you would do is you write 10, 10, 10. That's 30 multiplied by 1,000. 215 would look like that. So 1,600 would look like that. 57. Okay? So now for this one, for expanded form, on the test it's just going to be multiple choice, but some of you were doing it wrong on the homework. This should be, okay, so this is the 0 column, that's the 1, this is the 2. This should be 2 times 10 to the second plus 0 times 10 to the 1 plus 8 times 10 to the 0. That's what they mean by expanded form. So this would have been 4 times 10 to the, now this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 6 times 10 to the 3, plus 2 times 10 to the 2, plus 9 times 10 to the 1, plus 5 times 10 to the 0. And then finally this one would have been 1 times 10 to the 0, 1, 2, 3, plus 6 times 10 to the 2, plus 1 times 10 to the 1, plus 3 times 10 to the 0. And as I said, those will be multiple choice, so I just want you to recognize it. Okay, and then the Babylonian was the last thing that we did on March 11th. So again, the symbols look like this. This little triangle-like thing is a 1. This arrow type thing is a 10, okay? And their positional values are base 60, okay? So that was like the start of recognizing different bases. So this is the 60 to the 0 column, and this is the 60 to the 1 column. So since those are 10, 20, 30, that would be 30 times 60 plus 3 times 60 to the 0 is 1. And when you multiply that out, you get 1,803. So there's no space here. So these are all considered just 60 to the 0. So you would just simply add them, and that would be 34. This symbol here means to subtract. So this would be 10 minus 2, which is going to give you 8. But because of this gap here, this 1 over here is going to be 1 times 60 plus, and this would be 8 times 1, so my answer would be 68. And then finally, just recognizing them. Okay, so 122, what you would do is take 60, take the 122, and divide it by 60, and it goes in twice. So that means in this column I need a 2, and here's the one that has the 2. So all I have to do is really divide and see what I need here. I don't really have to do the whole thing out, but if you did, 60 times 2 is 120, and then there's the 2. Okay, so for the last two, for this one you would take 60 and divide it into 735, and it goes 12 times. So you're looking for a 12 here in this column. This is 21. This is your 12. So that's why it's this one. This one, because the number's so big, instead of dividing by 60, I would divide by 3,600. And it's going to go in 10 times. So that means that what I need in this column is a 10. So this is the 60 to the 1. This is 60 to the 0. 60 to the 0. And this is 60 squared, which is the 3,600. So that's why it would have been this one. So again, they're going up by 60, 0, 1, 2. So that's the only difference there. Okay, so that was March 11th. That was the first half of the chapter.